Mom? Hey, where did you go? Right now, Dad is looking all over for you.
Huh? Is this you, Ed? Are you using your dad's phone again to try and text me?
Well, Mom, I don't have a phone of my own to text you from, so I had to take his.
And a boy in 5th grade doesn't need to have a smartphone at his age, right?
I know that, but Dad told me that when I needed to talk with someone else in the family while they are out, I could use his phone and text. Also, Dad had a small accident with his hand, right? And so he can't use his hand to text you right now.
Yeah. I knew that man was going to care more about you than anyone else. But if he really wants to spoil someone, he's better off doing that with my daughter, who looks just like me, since she is definitely the better looking one of you two.
You're talking about Avery, right?
Yes, that's right. You already know that I'm in love with all things that are both cute and beautiful. And that's why I'm only in love with your cute older sister, Avery.
Mom?
Just a second ago, you had asked me where I am right now, right? Well, I'm at the airport right now.
The airport?
I'm going to be taking your sister to France with me, and she's going to become a supermodel with the help of her mom.
She's going to become a supermodel in France?
I'm going to take her to Paris with me, and we'll find her a modeling agency who will take great care of her. And you are far too ugly to be a kid of my own, so I won't be needing you anymore. Well, you only ever ended up as a kid of mine because your dad brought you along with him in the marriage, so I don't even have to call you a part of my family anymore. So please don't think anything bad of this, okay?
Dad is asking, have you filled out any diverse paperwork yet?
Tell him that the paperwork is sitting on the coffee table in the living room.
Alright. Well then that's fine with me, is what he said.
Huh?
Well, Dad just said that about you a second ago, but I feel the same way about you as well now. Have fun in France, Mom. Bye-bye.
Hello, Ed? This is your phone number, right, Ed?
And who am I speaking to right now?
This is your mom, Andrea.
What?
I've heard about how you've been doing so well for yourself, Ed. So now you can look up to me as your mom since I was able to get you to this point, and I can feel good about myself again as well.
I'm sorry to say this, but I don't believe I'm speaking with my mom right now.
Well, it has been 10 years since we last met, and I'm sure my number is different from the one I had back in those days. But look, I'm your mom. And if you're wondering how I got your number, I was able to get it from your aunt. Your aunt was kind enough to tell me that you're getting into the showbiz yourself there, huh? And that you'll be going into Hollywood for your debut, right?
That freaking dog. She's really gone and done it now.
Hey, come on now. You should not be speaking about your aunt in that manner, okay? It's because of her that I'm finally able to talk to you again, and you can finally speak with your mother once more. I bet you're so happy to finally hear from your mom again after 10 long years of waiting, right?
But I already told you, this is not my mom's number that I'm currently speaking to. Also know that she has only one phone and she's never told me nor anyone else that she has another. So tell me, what the hell do you want?
Come on, Ed. You don't have to give me such a cold shoulder. I know it's been a long time since you've heard from me, but you should still know how to talk to your own mother, right?
Look, can you quit it with all that BS?
Huh?
Are you kidding me? Can you not tell by the way I'm talking to you right now that I don't see you as my mother anymore and that I never want to again?
Huh?
You and that girl of yours, both Dad and I don't care about you guys. And all you do is bring back our bad memories by talking to me again. So go the hell away. And never try texting or calling me again.
Ed! This drama that I'm watching right now. I can tell just by looking at your face that you're the one playing the rival to the main character, right? I saw your name in the opening credits, and that face of yours is the same as when you were back in 5th grade. I totally get it now. Back in the day, you were a bit of an ugly duckling, but now that you've grown into a young adult, I have to say that you are one handsome-looking gentleman. Amazing. So you really are my son after all.
Ugh. You're texting me again?
Hey! Do you really think that's the right way to talk to your own mother? It's not. So you'd better start talking to me in a polite manner from now on.
You're not my mom. And that is why I'm talking to you like the annoyance you really are.
All right already, all right. I get it that it's because of me that you've become this amazing little actor. It's because of all that wishing and praying that I did to have a child of mine turn into an actor that you've become such an amazing person, right?
Seriously?
And compared to you, your older sister Avery, well, let's just say she's not doing as great.
What's happened to Avery?
Well, her and I are coming back to the States soon.
Weren't you and her trying your hardest to get her to become a supermodel or something?
Well, that didn't ever really turn into anything more than just a dream. I thought for sure that since she's a natural beauty, she'd be able to make it in one of those agencies over there, but of course, those French have a different idea of who's beautiful or not. So in the end, any agency we went to never gave her a chance to model, and any private work she tried never ended up being scouted. And what's worse is after failure, she began to eat a lot more bread and stuff to fight the stress. And let's just say she's gained a few pounds. Really, she's no longer a beauty whatsoever, but rather the definition of an obese person. Seriously, I cannot use her at all now. But this is why, to me, you were the perfect son any mother could ever ask for. My prayers were finally heard, and you turned into the most handsome-looking young man imaginable.
Well, I didn't get this far because of you.
Huh?
The only reason I've become an actor is because I wanted to become one, so I put in the effort to get to where I am now. To tell you the truth, it's supposed to be the manager's job to be here with me to help me diet and make sure I stay up to date on roles, right? Well, you haven't been here for me these past 10 years, nor have you ever been my manager, so screw you.
Huh?
Also, people don't just make it in a modeling or acting business by looking good.
Ed!
You have to be able to act as well, whether it's on stage or in the studio. And you have to be able to work to become the character you want to be, which takes weeks to perfect.
Wait a minute.
So you have no right coming to me acting as though you've put any work or care into me? Therefore, please, for God's sake, just leave me the hell alone so that you don't cause me any headaches anymore. Seriously, stop talking to me. I'm not messing around right now.
Seriously, Ed? Don't you think you're going a little too far with all this after having blocked your own mother's number now?
Are you kidding me?
I had my phone number changed so that I could get in touch with you again.
I told you already, stop trying to get in touch with me anymore.
Oh my. Well, why would I ever want to stop talking to my son? Are you really sure you want me to stay away from you even longer than I already have? I plan to become your manager soon so that you can become even more famous.
What?
You don't have to try and keep me at bay anymore. I promise that I'll do everything in my power to make sure you get as many roles as you'd like. And if you're worried about me having any experience, just know that I've been the manager for Avery for the past 10 years, and I did a wonderful job at it.
By wonderful, do you mean you failed her on multiple occasions, and that's why you're back?
Huh?
As from what you've told me, you didn't take Avery anywhere as her manager, and only led her to becoming fat and sad about her life. You told me that yourself the last time we chatted about her.
Well, that was something else. It had nothing to do with me as her manager, rather do with her way of thinking. She didn't have the drive she needed to become a supermodel, and that's why things didn't work out for her. But you're different. I know that with my help, I can take you to the top.
Well, I'm already on my way there.
Huh?
My manager happens to be one of the most well-known in the Hollywood world, and she also happens to be my mom.
Your mom? Ah, right. So this is your way of saying that you want me to be your manager, right? Understood, Eddie. I'll make sure to make you huge in Hollywood, and make sure that you and I never have to worry about falling out of the spotlight ever again.
Wrong. I'm talking about how I already have a manager and mother, and she's not you.
What? What do you mean by that?
My dad happened to get remarried about 8 years ago.
Huh?
And not only did Dad end up getting remarried, but he did so with a woman who he ended up having a baby girl with. And she has the most beautiful face and figure. But, unlike you, she's not the kind of person to only care about those that are attractive looking, and is willing to love everyone in her family very much. And so because of her warmth, I've been able to forget about the cold past that I had with you as my mother, and can now live a new life as a successful man.
That man, he got remarried to a new woman? And not just that, but had a girl with her?
And that's why I've been saying that you're not my mother this whole time. It's been 10 years since you left Dad and I, so I have zero clue why you're back here now trying to talk to me like you ever cared about my family. But if you really think that you have any chance of getting back into this family as my dad's wife, then you're strictly mistaken, as there's zero chance of that happening now.
What?
That's what I thought.
I have no other choice right now. 10 years ago, my dad, who was a very wealthy person, passed away. And of course, after his death, I received a lot of that money in his will from him. And when that money came to me, I thought it would be the perfect chance for me to get my daughter to become a famous model. And that's why I took her with me to France and started to make her model.
I see. So that's what Dad was explaining to me about after you left us?
During the first year, I was never able to land her any modeling gigs, and so I just thought that was a part of the industry. And since she didn't have a name for herself yet, I decided it would be better for the two of us to start conforming to life there first before getting into modeling. But then it was 2 years, and then 3 years, and time just kept on going without us ever seeing any real work come for us. And during that time, Avery graduated from an international high school there. That was the moment I thought she'd really put all her time into modeling without the need to study, but I was wrong. But then I started to really have a closer look at her, and it appeared to me she already gave up. And the food there had gotten the best of her. She was no longer the beautiful young woman I pictured her as, rather a model for some weight loss ad. And it wasn't just that. I noticed that a lot of the money from my father had dwindled away, and so I had to make the choice to bring us back to the U.S.
What?
The house that your sister and I had been planning on living in is no longer there for us. And so right now, we don't have a place to go home to.
Right. Currently, your mom is in an elderly home, spending the last couple of years of her life being cared for by the nurses there.
What?
I heard from her that she used the money left over by her husband and the money from the house when she sold it to get into a really nice home where there are all sorts of amenities for her.
You're kidding. So that means there really is no place for us to go?
And that's not all, actually. You ended up taking your daughter away with you to another country, even though she never really wanted to. And while there, you used up not only your own money that you received from your late dad, but also the money that was supposed to be left for her. There were apparently a few other people that were supposed to get the money from your late father, who never did because of you.
What are you talking about? Where is my mom right now?
I have no clue where she chose to go. Besides that, it's good for her.
What?
So far, everything I've been telling you has been okay to tell you, as the other parties involved don't seem to mind you knowing. But even if I did know more about your mom, I wouldn't tell you, as she never gave me the permission to.
Hold on a second. If you're not going to tell us where she is, how are Avery and I going to live?
Think about that one yourself, Andrea.
Huh?
There's another thing. As for that aunt of mine that ended up causing you to learn about my current situation in the first place, the whole family has stopped talking to her. So if you're trying to go for her for more information regarding me, you won't learn anything more than you already know.
Huh?
Now, I have to get ready to head into the studio for another session of takes, so I'll be going now.
Huh? Wait a second, Ed.
I'm blocking you again.
Right now I'm stuck in a cheap motel with Avery and we don't have much money left to keep us here. When it's all gone, we'll have to move into the streets. Hey, I'm only asking you this one time to please give me a place to live, just for a little bit. Ed!
There was one last thing that I never ended up explaining to Andrea, and it all had to do with the information that was left over regarding her late father's money and assets, and who they all went to. On that sheet of paper, she could probably take a closer look at it and learn where her mother ran off to, had she just taken the time to do so. Of course, Andrea or Avery could still think of that as an option and take a look for themselves, but I was never gonna recommend that to her, as I just don't care about either of them. So whatever happens next with those three will be left unknown to me. And a couple days later, Andrea and Avery both appeared to have figured out where I was currently working in Hollywood and came to find me. But of course I told security of this, and they made sure to stay on the lookout for these two. And when they were spotted around the studio, security called the police, who then came and grabbed the two of them, where they later found some information on distant relatives of them who they ended up calling to come get them. And within a day, a black minivan pulled up outside the police station to pick those two up, and then they were gone for good. My dad later called me to tell me that distant relative was Andrea's younger sister, who ended up taking those two into her company to work for her, day and night, for the rest of their lives. It was such a relief to learn that Andrea and Avery could no longer touch any of us anymore, and ever since then, I've been able to live in peace. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
Hey Daphne, are you there? I just needed to talk to you really quick. It's actually about Dad. You see, so if you could get back to me as soon as you can, that would be really great. I guess I can talk about it a little bit here, but the thing is that I think he's starting to get dementia.
Wait, what? Kayla, what are you talking about? Are you serious about this?
Well, it's just that even though he's so rich, he's being a complete idiot about his money. Haven't you noticed that? He has no idea how he should be spending it or what he should even be doing with all that money. So I think it would be better if he just gave it all to me, don't you think? Actually, I'm already in the process of trying to get an early distribution of his will so that I can have all of his money before he dies. Anyways, I guess that basically all I wanted to tell you really.
Hold on just a second. What are you talking about? This is all so sudden. I mean, I know that you had been going to visit Dad at home more often and all that. But do you really think that our dad is starting to develop dementia? Is that something you really think is happening over there?
I really do. I mean, I would know since, like you said, I've been spending so much time here with him. But yeah, I think Dad has basically completely lost it. I don't know what else we're going to be able to do for him at this point. I didn't think it would happen this quickly, but now that I think about some more, I think that he's completely gone. He's just an empty shell of the man he used to be. I think that it's probably just a matter of time before he even forgets how to speak. I guess we should have seen this coming, but would have guessed it would be happening so soon.
Kayla, I'm sorry, but I think this is all very, very strange, and I'm not sure that you're completely right about this.
Besides, I've already started the process to have Dad's will distributed before he dies, but I guess the estate people need some kind of confirmation from you as well. That's actually the real reason why I reached out to you, if I can be honest.
So then you're really going to try and go through with this weird living will thing? Are you sure that this is something that Dad would even want in the first place? Because I really wouldn't feel comfortable giving any kind of permission to this if Dad wasn't okay with it. Can we please just talk about this a little more before we make any rash decisions? This is really important, and we shouldn't rush this.
Ugh! Are you kidding me? What more talking is there to do? You know, this is why you and I never get along. I mean, do you really think that you're that much better than me just because you're the older sister? You need to understand that I'm the one taking care of our dad, and I'm only telling you what I see when I do take care of him. And what I see is a senile old man who might as well have his brains melting out of his ears.
Can you please not talk about our dad that way, Kayla? That's seriously disgusting. And I'm sorry, but I just really can't believe that our dad is as bad as you say. It just isn't adding up for me. I know that you've been going over to his house more and more, and I really do appreciate you doing that, Kayla. But I still think that trying to parcel out his will before our dad has even died just isn't right. I don't think it's something that we should be doing.
Well, thankfully, it isn't a decision that you'll have to worry about making, since I've already made it for all of us. Our dad barely even knows what shapes are anymore. I'll show you something from my purse, and he just stares at it like he's a baby with no knowledge of how the world works. And the fact of the matter is that you live so far away and just don't have the right to tell me what I'm seeing happen before my very eyes. That is why I had to take matters into my own hands and do what Dad no longer has the power to do for himself.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying that I don't think that Dad can be as bad as you're making him out to be. I mean, we actually just talked on the phone not all that long ago, so it's not like I haven't been in contact with him at all.
Well, of course he can talk on a phone, but you just don't understand what was happening there. Dad's muscle memory just kicked in, and that's why he was able to talk to you on the phone like that. You may have heard his voice talking from the other end, but it wasn't really him at all.
I'm sorry, but that is very, very hard to believe after the way you've been describing what he's like.
Well, I'm sorry that you find it hard to believe, but let me just remind you that you're all the way over there and I'm here with Dad in person. Got it? I'm the one who has been watching over him, and that means that it's my duty to make this kind of decision for him. So I'm going to send you the documents for the will, and then you're going to sign them. You don't mind if I just ensure that I get everything that's in there, do you?
What on earth are you talking about now? Did you just ask me if I mind if you claim everything in Dad's will?
Okay, so you did understand me. Then I guess that means you don't mind if I do that, right? Just consider it me taking my share for taking care of him.
But you haven't even really been taking care of him at all. I mean, it's not like you're there living with him and watching over him full time. You've just been visiting him more often this past month. And before then, you hadn't visited Dad in years and years, so I think that if you really want to go through with this will dispersal thing, we should talk to a lawyer first.
Well, I wouldn't do that if I were you. I mean, this is how Dad wanted us to do it. He said that he wanted his will to be given out before he died, and so you really shouldn't go against him.
Look, Kayla, you can tell me that he said that, but I still just can't buy that at all. I'm going to call Dad again and talk to him about this. Just please don't do anything until we've done our due diligence about this.
But why would you even bother calling him? I already told you that you won't do any good. He's only gotten worse since the last time you called him, you know? I don't care what you say. I know what our dad wants, and I'm going to be moving forward with it. You don't have the right to tell me what I can and can't do when you live so far away and haven't been with Dad like I have.
Kayla, give me a break. You know what this looks like, don't you? It looks like you only started visiting Dad recently so that you could try and steal his money from him. And if this is really what you're doing to our own dad, then, well, I'm not going to stand for it.
We just finished moving. It's all finally done. Consider it a final present from our poor senile dad.
What are you talking about this time? I don't remember getting anything.
Are you sure? You should check outside your door, because from now on, you're going to be taking care of Dad, not me. Anyways, good luck with that, sis.
Wait, what? No, seriously, what on earth are you talking about right now, Kayla?
I mean that I dropped off our senile old dad on your doorstep, and now you're going to have to take care of him until he dies. Meanwhile, I used up all of Dad's savings to buy myself a new big house. And don't worry, I promise to stay out of your hair from now on. In fact, you probably won't ever see me again since I've made sure that I'm going to get everything in Dad's will.
I see. So that was what this was about after all then, wasn't it? You were always only ever after the money, weren't you? And now you're telling me that you found a way to get everything in Dad's will, too? I tried to warn you that you shouldn't go through with that, but you just didn't listen to me at all, did you?
I told you that I was only doing what Dad wanted me to, so I don't get where you get off telling me that I was wrong. Of course, then again, maybe I was wrong. He was so brain dead and mumbly by the time I dropped him off that he really could have been saying anything to me. Anyways, either way, he isn't my problem now. He's yours.
So you're really just going to take all of our Dad's money and then just run away? You really are horrible. Do you know that? It's clear that you were never ever intending to take care of Dad. You were always only ever after his money, and now that you have it, you just dump our dad on my doorstep and run off?
And just what are you going to do about it, huh? Don't you know that I've already won? I've gotten everything that I needed from him, so don't waste your energy trying to scold me, Daphne.
You both are horrible, you know that? I can't believe that your husband is also just sitting back and letting you get away with this. You're both just horrible.
Well, I'm sorry, but can you really blame me for not having any more use for an old fart like Dad anymore? That's why I keep telling you that he's all your problem now. If you're really so upset over how I treated him, then you can deal with him now.
Well, you should know that Dad is sitting right here next to me and is laughing so hard at you.
What are you talking about? What is he laughing at? How can he even form a funny thought at the laugh at?
Well, I got home a little bit ago to let our dad inside, and you really have no idea what you're talking about at all. He isn't even close to senile. He's as sharp as he's ever been.
What do you mean?
I mean that he's here and he's talking just fine. He's very lucid and active, and he's been telling me all about what you've been doing to him. Then I showed him the messages that you've been sending me, and he just burst out in laughter.
Hold on a second. You showed our private conversations to our dad? What is the matter with you? Why would you do that?
And just why shouldn't I have done that when you were going to leave him here and make me take care of him?
But I mean, no, you don't get it. He's senile, but sometimes he has moments where he comes to. That's all. So just don't say anything to him because he still doesn't understand what's actually going on around him. Even if he says something about changing his mind, about giving me everything in his will, just know that he's not in his right mind at all, okay?
The only person who is losing their mind here is you, Kayla. Dad says that he was never ever going to give you everything in his will.
Wait, what? What do you mean by that? Of course I was going to get everything.
This whole story you've been trying to sell me about Dad being senile was just one huge lie. He's as healthy as he's ever been. But now that I know that you've been lying, it just confirms everything that I had been worried about to begin with. You and your husband were in on this together just to try and rob our father of his money.
You don't know what you're talking about. This is just one big mistake, I swear.
Why are you even trying to cover for yourself right now? I already know that you were lying to me. It's all over. I know now that you were saying Dad was senile just so that you could try and fool me into going along with what you wanted. But it's over. I know what you were trying to do. I see right through you, and there's no point in carrying on this charade any longer.
But I mean, he really was pretending to be senile? I swear it, unless Dad was just doing that to try and fool my husband. And I?
Well, you should see the look on Dad's face right now. He told me you just hit the nail on the head. He knew that you were trying to steal his money, so he told me that he was pretending to be a bit slower to see just how far you would go with this.
So you mean this is all just a big plot by Dad? And my husband and I just fell for it like that? I didn't know that Dad had that all in him. I can't believe that he would lie to us. I really did think that he was totally senile. But then, what about the documents for the will distribution?
Those were all fake. Dad told his lawyer about his plan to catch you and your husband in the act and asked her to draw up some fake documents. But, as you can see, Dad was never senile at all. He's as sharp as he's ever been to pull off something like this. The only reason I'm telling you all of this is to save the embarrassment and trouble of trying to go and get any of that paperwork processed.
So then, these documents are fake? Even though we got them from Dad's lawyer? But this doesn't make sense. I thought that I was going to get it all. I thought that all of Dad's money was going to be mine. Do you know how much money I've sunken into this scam?
Oh, please, you said that you were paying for all of this using Dad's savings anyways, isn't that right? Although you should know that you have until the end of the day to move out of your house now.
What are you talking about? My husband and I just moved here. We're not going to move out. This is our new home.
Well, Dad called one of his colleagues and made sure to stop you and your husband from living there at all.
What do you mean? What did he do? What could have he possibly done that is going to keep my husband and I from living in our new home?
Well, he called the real estate office and had the name on the deed changed to his. After all, it was his money that bought the house.
Wait, he put his name on the deed of our house? Can he do that? Is that even legal? I don't understand. I thought that I had everything planned out perfectly. How did it all come to this?
I just explained to you what happened. The only thing that you need to know now is that you and your husband have until the end of the day to pack your bags and leave. And now that Dad knows what your plan has been this whole time, you should also know that he's decided to leave everything in his will to me.
You're kidding me? You mean that I plotted so hard to try and make sure that everything in his will would go to me, but now it's all going to you instead? Does that mean that you're going to be getting all of his money before he dies like I was supposed to?
Of course not. Dad and I talked about that, and I told him that I was in no rush at all. Besides, all those documents were fake anyways, remember? So there would be no point in me trying to use them. But you should know that because of this, Dad is going to cut you off and never offer any kind of support to you ever again.
Wait, Dad is going to cut me off? How can he do that?
He can do that because of the way you and your husband were trying to treat him. Did you really think that he was just going to let this go? And just know that I'm going to follow suit and never ever talk to you again as well. Of course, it's not like we were even that close to begin with, if I'm being honest. But I just can't even stand to have you in my life after what you've done. I mean, how could you even try to do this to your own father and to me, your sister? You are nothing but a horrible, selfish woman, daughter, and sister, and you deserve whatever comes to you.
No, please. I really had no idea that Dad was just acting. I thought he was really going senile. I swear that I never would have done any of this if I knew that he wasn't senile and just his old self. Please, you have to believe me. You know that I wouldn't.
All that tells me is that you weren't going to try anything because you know that you wouldn't be able to get away with it. But we both know that it had been years and years and years since you had last visited Dad. Then all of a sudden you show up at his door because you think he's getting a little too old? It was so obvious what you were trying to do. Did you really think you were fooling anyone at all? It's not like Dad was even pretending to be senile from the start. But you just assumed that was what was happening when he would forget something now and then. So knowing that you were planning something and that you had leapt to the conclusion that he was going senile, the plan basically just fell into place.
But, I mean, so he really was just acting? He was never ever going senile at all? Are you serious?
That's right. He was only acting in a way that he thought would serve to fool you further. He knew that you were not the kind of person who would ever return to live with their parents in their old age.
But I mean, he didn't have to do that. That's so mean. It's not fair. We're family. We're supposed to be able to trust each other. How could he do that to me? I'm his daughter. How could he treat me this way? He's horrible. This isn't fair at all.
You expect him to be honest with you when you were literally trying to rob him blind? That's really rich, do you know that? You literally left him behind the moment you thought you had gotten what you wanted out of him. Anyways, I would quit wasting your time texting me and tell your husband to start packing up. In the end, the real estate agent that Dad was friends with did show up and tell Kayla and her husband that they had only a few more hours before they would have to leave. They were both in such a panic and begged for more time. But Dad was out of patience for their planning and told them to quit wasting their time and get back to packing. He was laughing all night about how he had fooled the two of them with his senile old man act. And with that, Kayla and her husband lost out on not only their new home, but Dad's inheritance as well. After that, Dad formally cut her out of his will and told her he never wanted to hear from her again. I have no idea what happened to Kayla and her husband after that, and frankly, I don't really care.